Welcome to another episode of Little Talks, your weekly dose of marketing news and insights from Littlefield Agency.
Hey,
there it is.
Cheers, gentlemen.
Go. All right.
There we go, boys. It's good to see you, Mr. Roop.
Sam was beginning, he couldn't hear the intro music, and I think
I was going crazy.
Yeah.
Welcome back to another edition of Little Talks with Littlefield Agency. Not only do we have a special and first 2024 guest, it is our 100th episode today.
Brandon.
Yes, Brandon.
Yeah.
I love it.
All of it.
You put up with me for 100 episodes, and this guy's put up with me for many, many years. Hey, I want to welcome them. We'll get into some short introductions. Scott Loyd from ITS, a very, very good friend and a wonderful company in the B2B manufacturing space. Scott, welcome.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my gosh. It is so good to have you here. Scott is living in Tulsa, like I said, a very, very good friend, and was generous enough to donate his time with us this afternoon on kind of a dreary Tulsa day. But we've known each other for 7 years now. And he's never been up to our space, so I'm honored to have him come up here.
It usually is a lot less construction-y.
Yeah, but you know what, though?
Yeah, I'm impressed.
It's a lot less construction-y. I was like, can I get you a beer? And this was actually his idea. I'll give you credit.
I was going to point out, every time we have a guest now, it seems like we're drinking. And the goal was this year to have at least one guest a month. So I kind of like
12 beers.
I like where this is heading. Yes.
Yeah, Roop was very excited when he saw, which he and Scott know each other from previous interactions. And Roop was like, hey, you're the reason I get to have a drink on the podcast today. So it's a good day. Before we dive in and do some introductions with Scott, Ditch Witch is holding their annual business conference at the River Spirit Hotel and Casino just right down the road. I got back from there earlier this afternoon. McKenna did a phenomenal job in putting on a wonderful event. It is a lot of herding of cats, so McKenna, shout out to you. And then Kristen, Sean, and Brock did a really, really, really nice job in how they are presenting the branding and marketing for 2024. A little bit of a pivot from previous years for the Ditch Witch brand, so it was really well done and always nice. I'm fresh off of a plane as of a couple of days ago from Tampa. I had a nice time for our magnet board retreat. I missed you. I missed you.
I missed you too, Sam.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Yeah.
And it's nice, our construction update. Construction's still going, but we are pretty dang close. So
This is a podcast so full of big events.
I mean, yeah, 100 episodes.
100 episodes,
First guest.
beer. And what did we announce yesterday, Sam?
Lloyd, what did we announce yesterday?
I wanted to throw out the congrats to the big award that's been added to your ever-growing trophy case.
Hey.
One of the best places to work, 2024.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Big honor.
Brandon, it's okay. Don't do any fanfare music for that.
It's okay, Brandon. No big
We're
deal.
cool. Not a big deal at all.
I'm so glad that you got to bring that up, Lloyd, because this is something we found out in October.
Sam has been dying to announce it. He's tried so hard not to leak it so many times.
I'd like to say that I've been looking forward to January 22nd, which was yesterday, which was a Monday, for months. And what happened yesterday? A frickin' ice storm.
Yeah, we were all remote.
So I'm stranded at home in my Littlefield gear, like so excited. And it was not the day I expected, which is totally fine. That is life. But we are honored and we are excited. I think it's been an awesome thing for our employees. I mean, we've really rallied around that notion for a couple of months now.
Yeah.
Now to officially be able to say that we are at Age 2024 Best Places to Work For is really cool. So,
and how many did they give out this year, Sam?
There were 50.
The whole world?
In the whole world, thousands apply.
Yeah.
And only one in Oklahoma, nobody really anywhere close to us except for Dallas. So it's a big deal. So thank you for bringing that up, Lloyd.
I brought it up. You got to introduce it.
Yeah.
But that's fine.
I figured part of the construction was for your trophy case.
Oh, yeah. That's what we should be telling
that's
people. That's a good idea.
Okay. Scott Loyd, would love for you to introduce yourself. Tell us, where you're from, college, some of your sales background, and where you are today on the work front.
Yeah. So I am originally from Arkansas. I graduated from University of Missouri in 2010 and took a job, really a sales training program for a company that sells knee, hip, shoulder replacements in the orthopedic world, and went off and did that for about 4 years and stumbled into this opportunity with the company I work for now, Innovative Technology Solutions.
Love it.
So I've been there since 2014 and became a partner here a couple years ago.
Which is awesome.
Nice.
I was there. So Scott and I have known each other for 7 years. We were neighbors for a few years, and by neighbors I mean we lived 8 houses away from each other. I was there the night that Scott got to break the news to me that he was named partner. Scott's young. He's done a really good job and paved the way. So it's really cool to not only be talking to a damn good B2B salesman, but a partner at ITS. So we welcome here today and would love to you walk us through what ITS does, Scott, and who are you selling to on a daily basis? I would love any information.
Yeah, so ITS was founded in 1997.
Okay.
We are the exclusive manufacturer's rep for a company called Vertiv that sells computer and air conditioning, backup power, anything data center related infrastructure, we sell it. So we have
Security stuff too, or just the air conditioning?
we don't do any security, mostly just infrastructure as far as the power, cooling, monitoring.
Rack rooms, things like that. Okay.
Anywhere from your tiny network closets all the way up to full-blown enterprise data centers.
Have you seen ours? Is it up to snuff?
I haven't seen yours yet. I was hoping
I hope you didn't bring that up.
I was hoping I
don't want
could
him selling me.
make a sales pitch while I was here, but
Well-
we'll save that for after.
We'll see how it goes. Yeah, we got a little closet over there. We'll show you.
Yeah.
I got
to
a
see
question
that.
on that
Mm-hmm.
front. So from small closets like ours to massive data centers, if your product or they didn't have your product, let's say they don't have your product, what happens to their, call it super centers, if something were to go wrong?
So they basically have to have our product or an equivalent.
Okay.
The two main pieces of what we do, the air conditioning, which is cooling a machine versus a person. So it's a specialty type of air conditioner. Without this, the servers would overheat in minutes.
And ultimately they overheat, which means what happens?
They shut down.
Yeah, there's
Which
no
means
data is
you,
happening.
You
yeah.
lose all operations. You basically can't function as a business.
Which is crazy to think that is the world that we live in. I mean,
Right.
I can't even imagine what an Amazon data center looks. I don't know if they're a client or if you can disclose that, but like I can't imagine. Massive,
My
right?
dad did this, was involved in this back in the 80s when there was like punch cards and stuff, right? And I remember him taking me in and had the big suction cup deal that like pulls the thing off the floor and all.
Raised floor.
I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen.
They still have that.
They do?
That's
Cool.
still a thing.
You know about it.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I see it every day.
Yeah.
And then the other piece, the backup power, UPS, uninterruptible power supply. So that's a battery backup system, not can be confused with a generator.
Okay.
It more or less bridges that gap, but that is what keeps your servers online in the event of a power outage, even if
Interesting.
it's just for 2 seconds.
Are you guys primarily in the Midwest or are you all over the nation?
So Vertiv is a global company,
Okay.
publicly traded company. ITS, we have Kansas City, Tulsa, and Little Rock.
Awesome.
And that sales region, we have the exclusive rights to it.
Perfect. So Scott, walk us through on the sales front. Who's your target audience? Titles, et cetera, companies? Who are you going after on a daily basis and your team?
Yeah, so we have basically 3 main buckets of customers that we're targeting. One would be consulting engineers, mechanical and electrical contractors who are sometimes buying the equipment from us and then installing it, and then the end user, which would typically be an IT manager, facilities director, or a group of them, depending on how big the company
And are those
is.
ultimately the decision makers?
So the goal is to be interfacing with all 3 of those groups in order to ultimately make yourself more successful in the decision making.
That's
So you're
smart.
trying to attack it from all 3 angles.
Stay in the conversation.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then walk us through typical sales cycle. Couple of weeks, couple of months, could it be a year?
It's typically a longer sales cycle.
Okay.
Occasionally, it will be a couple of weeks. That's very rare. Most of the time we're being involved when the drawings are coming out for construction.
Gotcha.
And then it gets all the way to the point where they bid. We put our equipment package together, and then from there's a whole decision-making process, and then they order, and then several weeks after, the equipment delivers. And
So it's typically months.
Months, sometimes years.
A year. Yeah. Which sometimes those year to couple of years sales cycles, which are, as this fellow salesman, tough. Those are sometimes the sweetest victories when you finally get that signed on the dotted line.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, absolutely. So Scott, walk us through, as you've been with ITS for years now, you're a partner, a day in the life on the sales front. Let's call it marketing, right? Are you cold calling? Are you leveraging current customer relationships and trying to get referrals? Is that a thing? Like, just walk us through what your typical day is.
Yeah, so it's a combination of what we'll call cold calling and also existing customers that are continually adding to their infrastructure or replacing equipment that's at its end of life. So we have very strong relationships with a good customer base.
Okay.
Now, there's also customers out there that we've never met that we would like to meet. So that's where the cold calling comes in. And really, it's just that, whether we look on the internet, look on LinkedIn, and try and find who's the facilities manager at this place.
For sure.
And then it's a matter of picking up the phone and
let's pause for a moment and point out that Scott just said he uses LinkedIn to do his.
Hey, is there money going under the table there?
It was last year's thing of the year for me. It's going to be this year's too, I think. I love to hear it.
No, that's great. So
we have to now that there's no cookies.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Soon to be.
Yeah.
Have you listened to a Little Talks episode?
Just a couple. Only the ones where I know I'm going to get a shout out.
You'll get more from here on.
I give them a heads up. That was very well played. And honestly, very, very good. So let's say you're cold calling a prospective customer. They already have a system in place, correct?
Depends.
Okay.
Sometimes they would, if it's a group that has facilities all across the state of Oklahoma, say, they may have equipment at several of their facilities, but they may be building a new hospital or data center. And so even if they have somebody else's equipment, we are trying to get out in front of that so that they buy our equipment.
So are they brand loyal, or will they be open to that conversation in the sense of what they're looking for? Do they have a relationship with a Scott Loyd that, and that's hard to break through that barrier?
It all depends.
Okay.
A lot of times they do, and that can be very difficult. Those are the hardest customers to break into. If they have an existing relationship, they have really no motivation or any reason to call us unless they're having a problem.
No, of course, which is probably an affirmation to you and your customers, right? You've got loyal relationships and you've cultivated that and built that and provided great product for them. So you don't want anyone, because there are probably people calling on your customers and they're saying, no thanks, it's okay.
That's right.
That's a good thing. And I can appreciate that for those that do stay loyal. So I think that's technically a bad thing for you, but at the same time, you never know what can happen, which I think is important. So Loyd, when we're talking sales, walk us through, and again, we work with a lot of B2B manufacturers. Do you have a marketing team? Are you in charge of marketing? We have a lot of sales and marketing titles that we deal with in our perspective world. What does that look like?
Yeah, so in the past, we essentially had no marketing or a marketing team.
And we see that all the time.
And we've started to try and improve the way we're doing things across the board. Marketing was one of those aspects where we felt like we were lacking, and so I'm the one-man marketing team.
And Scott, really, that's why you're here today. We'd like to talk to you about, can we get you into a CRM or a campaign package?
Scott, is this all making sense now?
Yeah. And I know very little about marketing, so I'll probably believe whatever you tell me.
And that's why we're such good friends.
There it is.
It all makes us, so here's the thing. We see it all the time. You guys have a website. I see that you have a LinkedIn presence. Are you doing blog posts or any sort of ongoing SEO, any paid media?
I don't know if we have, what would paid media be, like
So it
billboard?
could be Google paid search, it could be a billboard, it could be retargeting display ad. I mean, it runs the gamut. YouTube pre-roll, so none of that.
Basically not, no. I mean,
But are you doing blogs?
yeah, the extent of our marketing would be the company that built our website puts out a post on our LinkedIn that has relevant material for new products or services that Vertiv sells. And so essentially they're sending out links to our 173 followers.
Ish.
So okay, so I have a question. I have a question about that because this is a real world example. You're going to be able to answer it. We didn't prep for this at all. So ready? Okay. So you have the company page, LinkedIn page, and posts go up. They maybe do a little engagement or not. Whatever happens there. Do you find that your personal self, your personal LinkedIn profile, does better talking to and connecting to your customers?
I'm probably not the best example of this because I don't think I've ever posted on LinkedIn.
So again, Scott, we're here for a reason today, and we're going to.
I just updated my picture from 2010.
Well, that's a start. You got to start somewhere.
Ago.
Is this it?
That's from 2014.
I was a little confused when you showed up today because I was looking
A few
for
more
this
grays
guy.
and some glasses since that was taken.
Hey,
that was my first
you're
day at
aging
ITS.
Yeah, is it really?
Yeah.
How old were you in this picture?
Well, about 26.
By the way, you're aging like a fine wine. Secondly, if you want Scott's cell phone, it is on.
It's
That's
on
a
the website.
bullseye, but I
Brandon
love
cringed
it.
at that.
Yeah.
I'm available 24/7, 365.
So the reason I bring that up or ask is I notice this is a kind of a trend, something that happens. People make connections with people more than brands, and especially in a sales universe, I would imagine that to be true. Our announcement on Ad Age that we threw up yesterday did fine for our official company page, but I noticed Sam Littlefield, as an individual who just shared the same thing, got tons more engagement off of that because people connect with people. So anyhow, we'll talk about that on the side. Maybe future podcast
so
for you.
Here's the deal. You bring up a great
Part
point.
two.
Part two, yeah.
People connect with people, right? So you're selling to a company, but there's a person that you're building that relationship with.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before on
Yep.
the podcast. And Lloyd, what we've talked to in the past as well is, it's one thing for your company. You have an awesome opportunity because your customers that are friends with you on LinkedIn or linked with you on LinkedIn, they look to you. You're the expert. You've got the team in place. You've got the great product. And so I think that's a huge opportunity.
I think when you don't have a large or any marketing budget, LinkedIn, leveraging it, and it takes effort, believe me. But getting disciplined into a routine to using it will yield you pretty good results. I mean, with almost no spend, just as an individual.
Yeah.
Well, so as Lloyd and I were prepping for this, and by prepping I mean we had a beer on my patio, and Lloyd said, "I think I should come on your podcast."
Noticing a pattern
because
here
I'm right.
of a certain drink.
But here's the thing, and Roop and I see this every day. Every B2B manufacturer that I talk to, for the most part, believes that if they build a better mousetrap, their customers will just flock to them. Mm-hmm. And here's the cool thing, 1997 to basically present day, and you really haven't done that much marketing, and you guys are a booming business with a great team and a great product, and you're still relevant and selling, and that is amazing. What I tell our B2B manufacturer customers that sometimes don't have a marketing team or rely heavily on sales, but here's the thing, Scott, while it's awesome that you have an interest in marketing, that's not your job, right? You're out there selling. You're out there cold, and the customer calls, you answer. I mean, that's just part of sales 101 and what you signed up for coming out of Missouri years ago.
Yep.
And so we see that all the time. And one thing that I told Scott, even in the most basic of ways, and you said, okay, so from paid media to organic to what we call full funnel marketing, there's an awareness standpoint, obviously down to conversion. And reconversion. Yeah. And here's the thing, there's two parts to this, sales and then cross-selling, right? And so you're out there cold calling that facilities manager, and you're finding their information on LinkedIn, you're reaching out. What happens to the facilities manager in Oklahoma City that isn't on your prospect list, but they're looking for you, right? And we want you guys to be relevant for you to show up. And there's multiple different ways to do that based off intent and keywords and just overall their familiarity with you as a company. We talked CRMs before, right? Like in the sense of how are you leveraging current customer data? And you guys have a CRM, which I think is great. We talk to companies that don't have a CRM.
Don't have one.
They literally they have a spreadsheet, blank first name, last name.
Some people keep
address.
a notepad.
Some people keep, yes, I've seen that, which is crazy to me. So, I told Lloyd as we were just talking about this a few weeks ago, hey, are we going to give you the keys to the kingdom? No, because we don't have that information because we need to know a lot more about his company. But here's our philosophy. While we love working with B2B manufacturers, some people aren't ready for a marketing team. And so we want to, give you tools in your tool belt that can help go for when you're out and selling, you come back in your inbox and there are warm leads ready to talk to you. It's the best feeling in the world. I mean, we see it every day on Littlefield, right?
I do it for you all the time.
Bru, I don't know. Do you have any thoughts on just from not tips and tricks, but how you'd approach the situation?
Yeah, I think when you don't have a budget, it's tough. I mean, that's just any industry, any world, anything. But there are some things you can do, and I think as a salesperson, you have that opportunity on LinkedIn to go out and grow your brand through your brand in a way, like because people will connect with people. That's a pretty low hanging fruit, easy thing to do. Super happy to hear you're investing in blogs because organic search on Google, that's what you're looking for there. You're hoping that those articles answer somebody's question or somebody's need. So, sharing those things on LinkedIn or even a Facebook or other social channels helps that reach a little bit. But I mean, the way that works best is when you've got an organic and a paid approach generally. So there's only so much you can do without a marketing budget, right? But there are things you can do.
Well, and this is interesting. Years ago, they were a great client. We worked with them for 5 years, Samson Rope, which is 2 hours north of Seattle, Washington. And I remember we did a website project for them, and then we pitched them on a lead generation program. And in Lloyd, they didn't have a huge budget, okay? They said, okay, here's our budget, and what can you do with that? So we came back with them and said, okay, here's a huge opportunity. And at the time, it was a social media play. And her name's Amber. And I said, Amber, 3 months. Just give us 90 days, and you have the absolute right to fire us if you're not happy with the results. And that 90 days turned into 5 years. And it was a really great. I love
Amber.
Yeah, Amber's
and
awesome.
Samson Rope.
And so what
now
we
their pictures on your wall.
And their pictures.
Yeah, they're one of our logos.
See, look at that. He's right on it. So a lot of B2B manufacturers that I talk to, like, man, this is great. I don't know where to start. That's a big portion of it. And hey, we don't have $1 million in marketing. That's okay.
Yeah, you can walk before you run.
Some of our largest clients today were once smaller clients. And we grew because they grew to love us and to know us and to trust us. That's wonderful. They saw results. You need results. You're a partner because you've gotten sales results. I mean, that's part of you, proving your worth day in and day out. And so,
I
you ready to sign?
That's my pen. At least you could give me one of your pens. I think we have a probably not that unique of a challenge, but like we talked about, not that many people know about this business we work in. It's pretty niche, right? The people that are in it know about it. Yeah. And so we can't put my face on the billboard. We wouldn't do that. But or a TV commercial, we would have to take a different approach.
Of course. No, and that's the thing. And when we talk to B2B brands, billboards are absolutely not the option. That's a very good point. Are we going to see you in between March Madness games on a TV spot? No.
You didn't even use the big game coming up. We have to call it the big game for legal reasons.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, $6 million Super Bowl ad, probably not the right, most bang for your buck. But as we look at these, because from a complex B2B standpoint, a longer sales cycle, we understand the long game, because even if you have a hot lead, that hot lead might take 6 months to close.
You got to stay in front of them.
And you got to stay in front of them, right? Because not everyone is ready to sign with Scott Loyd's pen on the dotted line. So
we'll do that off camera.
Yes. Yeah. But Lloyd, let me ask you this. You've engaged with some of our podcasts. I'm a very good friend of yours. Roop through the podcast. Have these episodes been helpful for you, just in the sense of, I know you're a busy salesman, but
you can say no.
You enjoy
it's totally fine.
It's totally fine. My feelings are
we'll try harder.
I've actually, I've listened to probably 10 or 12
Wow.
at least. I
I'll
do
take it.
like
That's
that
great.
they're 20 or 30 minutes. So aside from us sitting here BSing for,
Yeah.
Brandon,
maybe
where are
going
we at on time?
I'm going to say about 23 minutes, 24?
26.
Yeah, 26.
Yeah.
They're always so good.
They're short and sweet, and I think the content's really good. I really liked the presentation episode.
Oh, last
which was
week's.
last week's episode.
Which is probably hits home for you, right? You're probably giving a lot of presentations.
I am.
Good.
Yeah.
Good. That's great.
That topic we only did because I wanted to point out Sam messed up my deck. Like, I just wanted the world to know how bad and how upset I was when he messed up my deck. But then the irony is we're preparing for the podcast today,
Yeah.
and Scott's like, "Oh, that one tip was really good." And I was like, "Oh, which one was it?" And he's like, "Oh, the one about pausing on silent." And I was like, "Oh, that was Sam's." Thank you. Oh, now you're on the board. Good Lord.
This is awesome. I seriously, I know you were. I mean, Scott, he's in hunting season right now, just like I am. It is, and I'm not saying, well, maybe a little hunting season for you as a hobby, but he's a very busy guy. And so for you to take an hour out of your day, you got to see the space and be with us. I appreciate it as a friend and also as a guy in the B2B world. So thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys having me.
No, totally.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts? Anything?
No, I don't. Not really.
No.
I'm almost at the bottom of this bottle, so
So it's perfect.
Yeah.
We need to cut
The
you off.
ideas are about to start flowing. Next time we'll go to your new favorite neighborhood bar.
Oh, Quigley's. Yeah.
Hey, have you been to Bishop Quigley?
I haven't been there.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Oh boy.
It's great.
It is amazing. On that note, thank you. Thank you. Always good to see you.
Thank you, guys.
Great to have you on. And for those that are listening, we hope you enjoyed this wonderful episode with Scott Loyd at ITS. We will see you next week. Happy 100th episode. Thank you.
Adios.
And that's a wrap. We hope you've enjoyed our little chat and found ways to grow your own marketing strategies. Remember to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts and follow us on social media at Littlefield Agency.